My turn. For each of these questions, we're looking to estimate the value. To do this for something we're squaring, we're going to use the same method as before, where we're first going to round it to one significant figure. For roots, I'm going to show you a slightly different method. You will need to know your square numbers for this. So, one significant figure, we find the highest non-zero place value, we look at its neighbour, it is 3, 3 keeps us the same, so an estimate for 6.3 would be 6. Remembering we're squaring that, 6 squared, one of our square terms we should be quite familiar with, would give us 36. Now with roots, you will need to know your square numbers, so it's always handy to write them down first. So I get 1, 4, 9, 16 and 25. I'm going to stop at 25 and you'll see why. So we need to identify the two square numbers that are either side of 11. Because 11 is what I'm working with. That would be 9 and 16. So the square root of 9 is 3 and the square root of 16 is 4. So the square root of 11 is somewhere between these values, somewhere between 3 and 4. As we are working on an estimate, halfway or somewhere close, so we know that 11 is closer to 9 than it is to 4. So if you wanted to estimate it closer to 3 than closer to 4, this would be rational, but you could go directly halfway. So for this, you would get a range of answers that would be credited. 3.1 to about 3.5 would be credited. On that lower end, because we know 11 is only 2 away from 9, where it is 5 away from 16, so it would be slightly closer to that root of 9. Pause the video here and have a go at the your turn question. Estimating the value of the following. To do this, when squaring, we first of all need to round it to one significant figure. I've got 4 with a neighbour of 9. Remember, 9 is going to round us up, rounding that 4 up to a 5. Remembering we're squaring. 5 squared, again, something you should be familiar with. 5 squared, 5 times 5 is 25. And that is our estimate. Then the root of 19. Again, for the root, you're going to need to know your square numbers. I'm going to just jot them down again. 1, 4, 9, 16 and 25. We need to identify the two values that are either side of 19. This would be 16 and 25. The square root of 16 we know is 4. It's plus or minus 4. So you could put plus or minus here. Giving the value of the square root of 19 would also be plus or minus. Generally, they would accept just the positive answer. And the square root of 25 is plus or minus 5. So now the square root of 19 we know sits somewhere between these values. Let's just take our positives. So somewhere between 4 and 5, you can once again either just go straight halfway in between 4 and 5 as 4.5, or you can think it is slightly closer to 16 or slightly closer to 25. Obviously, 6 away from 25 is 3 away from 16, so you could say it was slightly closer to the value of 4, but again, a range of values would be accepted here between 4.2 and 4.5. Once again, the range can vary, so please be really careful with this. Think rationally, write the numbers out. Is 19 closer to 16 or closer to 25? We know this. We know it's closer to 16. So think rationally when you are thinking about what value you're going to use. Be really careful with these. Make sure you are writing down those square numbers and have a go at the next set of questions.